Hi there everyone. So we're about ready to start changing the brakes, and the state of these brakes are awful. It looks rusted everywhere, and I'm guessing, because the way it sounds, I think the inboard pad is getting worn more than the front, because the front one still looks like it has loads of meat left. But we'll see how it's gonna go when I get these off. Also, all going well, because it looks like there's quite a bit of rust here. I want to replace the brake lines for steel ones, like we done back in the Golf. This side here, yeah. So this side is the one with the brake pad wear sensor. I've got a new one of those as well. So first things first, get a bit of WD-40 and start spraying everything that I'm going to need to take off, starting with this set screw and here where the brake line is. The brake line I actually sprayed a few days ago, so hopefully it won't give me too much bother. The bleed screw, because if I take the hose I'm gonna have to bleed it, so get that. What else I need? The bolts in the back should be okay with the breaker bar. Yeah, we're about ready to start. So I'm gonna start by the set screw. By the way, the new discs come with the new set screw, so I'll just use the new one, might as well. I've got the new one. So 6mm Allen, and yeah, it won't be too easy because the disc will want to turn, but you can jam a screwdriver in there preventing it turning, and then you can try again. And this thing obviously doesn't want to come off. Couple left taps and then try again. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, I got that off. So before I put the new one, I'm actually going to put just a tiny dab of anti-seize copper grease, because this one, the threads are very rusted. So to prevent that, I'm going to put just a dab of copper grease, and now it's stuck here. That's it. Next, get your screwdriver, and this plate, if you press on it, it should come off. Just as easy. You just put your hand in front of it so it doesn't go flying off. Need to get that cleaned, because also I forgot to mention, today I also want to spray these brake calipers because they look very, very rusted, and I want to make it look a bit fresher. So this out the way. Get the two rubber caps in the back of the caliper. One at the top, one at the bottom. So those two caps there, they cover the sliding pins, and then it should be a 7mm Allen key. Yep. Before taking it all the way out, make sure you loosen them both so that the caliper's not swinging around on you when you're trying to get the other one loose. top one. Let me see the condition of this, because I'm pretty sure that these were dry before and the caliper wasn't sliding properly on it. Well, it's not dry, but I don't think it's been cleaned properly the last time these brakes were done. But we're gonna get that sorted today. And of course the bottom one feels kind of stuck too. It's almost out, but still getting stuck in there. Almost out. And it still doesn't want to come off. There we go. Yeah, the bottom one is even worse than the top. Completely dirty. Now, my caliper hook and pry the caliper off its mount, and I can see that the disc is wanting to fall off already, so put a wheel bolt on so it doesn't fall on you. Now that it's off, I can run my hook on the caliper and hang it on the suspension out of the way, allowing me to work here and change the brake, change the disc and remove the carrier. So I'm going to need to turn the steering wheel to the other side to give me access to the carrier bolts. One thing that should have been done before I even removed the caliper was push the piston back. So I opened the brake reservoir cap to relieve the pressure and push the piston back. And now looking at this inboard pad, it's actually not that bad, but like I said, the way these brakes felt, it didn't feel good. But then again, the pads, the condition of the pads are not the greatest. But yeah, they do look a lot very glazed, so I don't know, maybe they're done for. But either way, I'm getting new brakes today. Now, with this out the way, I'm gonna start by giving this a quick clean. I'm gonna remove this, obviously I'm gonna clean it better, but just to make my life easier, it's off. Yeah, better take this off. So carrier bolts are 18 mil. Yeah, one. And I need an extension because it's hitting one of the brackets. See if the small one is enough. Should be. Yeah, small one is enough. of course it's not playing ball, but I know how to make it play ball. Now let's see if it's gonna play ball or it won't. There we go. Here it is. Okay, set this aside. We'll do the cleaning afterwards. And now, remove the wheel bolt, and all disc can be removed. And yeah, the inside, there's a few weak spots. And also it's not really grooved, but you can still feel. I don't know if the camera's picking up all those lines here in the disc. Yeah, I'm not running my nail or anything, but yeah, I can feel all of those. Anyway, out with the new, with the old, I mean, those are very heavy. And my drill, give this a clean. These are the beauties. They're gonna replace those standard discs and they look amazing. So even though this doesn't have any oil, I'm still gonna give this a clean because it never hurts to put clean parts on. The new screw, and actually I'm going to put this on the box. Look around, same thing. Spray with brake cleaner and wipe it down. There we go. And I normally clean inside the head as well. Not that it really matters, but I do it. And this doesn't matter which disc you put on each side, because the veins, don't know if you can see, the veins are not curved, they're straight veins, so it doesn't really matter which disc goes on which side. So get the new screw ready. On my 6mm. Yep. And literally all I'm gonna put is that, just enough to coat the thread once I screw it in. And also, I almost forgot, I always put a bit of copper grease also on the face of the hub. Don't need a whole lot, because I don't want any dirt to be stuck onto the copper grease, so a tiny bit, and then I'm gonna smear it all over. I should have started on the other side. It's very, very warm. Anyway, so that is as much as I put. Just a dab. And now all you have to do is align the holes and the set screw as well, and screw in your set screw. So beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I like that. Eventually I'm gonna have to do the rears as well, and actually the coating on this disc looks like it's bubbling. I don't know if it's plastic or whatever this is. Yeah, it's flaking. Well, it's not gonna be the end of the world. I've got some black paint. Maybe I'll just give it a quick spray there to prevent this from looking rusty like the other one was. But yeah, before I put this back, I will need to give it a tiny bit of spray there. But anyway, now I'm gonna clean caliper, carrier, assemble everything before we can mask this side here and start painting. Very, very hot. Now the caliper and the carrier are clean. I'm gonna torque this down. I'm gonna put everything, I'm gonna assemble everything. I need to replace the sensor. I cannot forget that. The sensor is just dangling here, the old one. What else? And I need to replace the lines. And just like the Golf, if you remember, I put the breaker bar pushing against the pedal because that closes the master cylinder. That means that there's no air going in the system, there's no fluid being dripped. And also it might mean that we don't need to bleed the full system. That means that we can just fill up the line up to the caliper, bleed the caliper, and it should be done. But later on we'll try that, and if it doesn't work, then I'm gonna need to jack up the rear and bleed the whole system. But either way, I'm gonna try that first because it might work just like it did on the Golf. So for now, 110 Newton meters for the carrier bolts. And let's torque it down. 110. Same thing with the bottom one. I'm not having too much movement. Yeah, done. So 110, all nice and secure. And I left the pads on the other side. Anyway, let's go get the pads. So the pads, you need one with the spring, one without. The one without sits here at the front, and the one with the spring clips into the piston in the caliper. Again, some people like to do this, some people don't. I prefer to grease my pads. And again, I don't put a lot. I put a little bit and then I smear it all over the pad. So on this one, obviously where the piston goes, and there to go inside the pistons, and the contact points to the carrier. And the front ones will be different because the contact points are just top and bottom, so a tiny bit there, and also the contact points of the carrier. And now all I have to do is just smear it. And one of the reasons I don't put too much is I also grease the channel for the carrier, so that's why I don't put a whole lot, because both metal parts will have grease, so I don't need a whole lot. So bit of grease there, smear it, and obviously be careful so you don't put grease on your brand new disc, especially when you're doing the inside, because it's a bit more tricky. So the one without the spring sits right there, and the one with the spring I'm just gonna clip it inside the piston. Being careful so I don't touch the grease. And these new springs obviously won't be that easy. And I touch the grease. So where's my screwdriver? What I normally do with these, I go one side first and then I push the other side with the screwdriver. But it's easier said than done. Clipped in. Okay, that was a bit of a struggle. Anyway, so now that that's in, I need to clean the sliding pins. And normally what I do, I keep it in the tool, so that means you're not gonna hurt yourself, and or just put it on the ground so it doesn't slip. And just gonna clean with the drill. And look at the difference. Now, again, normally I put the dab of copper grease just here. That means when I push the sliding pin onto the rubber boot, everything's going to be coated, especially because I'm going to be turning it, so everything's going to be coated. So first, take your caliper down and slide it over the disc and the pad, like so. Whew. Man, it's warm. I know. And all this started by hand. So I copper grease all around it, and then slide it in. There we go. Went in like a charm. Couple of turns. Same thing with the other one. This is looking amazing. This, I really love these discs. Now to replace the brake line, you'll need to release that. That's a 11 mil, and I think that's a 17 to counter hold in case they're seized, but I think I can get it without counter holding. And on here on the caliper, it's a 14 mil. I already pushed these rubber bits off the grommets. The new brake line also comes with that for those brackets. And yeah, so it's all loose. I just need to really remove it from there and remove it from here, and then I can match up with that braided line and put the grommets in the same place. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the box under here because some brake fluid will spill, so at least it'll be inside the box. I'm going to start from the top there with a box end wrench, 11 mil. And yeah, some brake fluid, but that's expected. And it's coming out very, very nicely. It's almost loose, so I'm just gonna leave it there. And the brake fluid that came off was just from the hose. Now 14 mil, and expect some more brake fluid to run down the hose. Yeah, that's it. So now remove this the rest of the way if I can. I need to use this still. It's loose. Now I'm gonna have to spin this hose off the caliper. And be careful so no brake fluid drips on the discs or the pads. There we go. And again, I'll show you. I've done on the Golf and here as well, because the brake pedal is pressed, the brake bar is holding the pedal. There's no brake fluid dripping off that line. So now the new line is going to be the same way. You're going to twist it onto the caliper first. It has a copper washer, which it didn't before, but copper washer, and then you're gonna route it up there and connect it to the brake line. So there you go, the washer. And now thread it on. One thing I forgot to do was match up the grommets for the brackets, but I'm gonna run the hose and then I'm gonna put the brackets on. And just like the Golf, it comes with these tiny brackets here to hold those rubber bits in place. So now, because I'm going to touch the brake fluid, I'm going to glove up. And the line runs back here, and then makes a loop onto the existing brake line. So counter roll 17, tighten with the box hand wrench. And that's it. There's the new line. I just need to set these rubber bits in place and secure the line and bleed the caliper. Make sure that the caliper is filled, make sure that the line is filled, and I shouldn't need to bleed the whole system. The other day when I finished the brake job, I could keep recording, but there was no point for me to keep recording because my neighbors play music outside because the weather was good. I don't blame him, and because of YouTube copyright, there was no point for me to keep recording if I couldn't use the footage. But at the point that he started playing music, I had pretty much the job done. All I had to do just put the secure the brake line and paint the caliper. And judging by the line, I'm pretty sure you know what color it is. And yep, if you guessed green, you guessed right, because I wasn't too sure about it, but I do like how it looks like now. Just the wheels letting it down because it needs a refurb, but honestly those brakes are looking really good. And if you peek behind there, you can see the brake line over there, and if you look through here, yeah, you can see it there as well. I wasn't too sure about the green, but I really do like how it looks, and eventually I'm gonna have the rears matching the front brake lines and also the brake caliper color. And now for the features that you can do on the BMW without no diagnostic tool, no nothing, and you can reset how many miles until you have to do the brake job again. So I'm going to show you now that and a few other stuff I found out about the BMW. So let me start this up. After you start it, you need to let it do whatever it does here, and once you get to this screen, you're gonna hold this button for about 10 seconds. You need to get past the triangle until you get to this menu, and then you use this stalk here to cycle through the menu. So that's brake fluid. If you cycle down, that's front brakes, rear brakes. That I think is main service of sorts, because you have the oil service. So I don't really know which is this service yet, but the one we want to reset is the front brakes. So to reset it, you press the BC button, and you see there now you have reset. So you have reset, and straight away you press and hold the BC button, and it should reset. Did it do it? Yeah, so it did it. 45,000 miles. I think it's a lot, but you can always keep an eye on the brakes, and there's also the brake pad sensor that's gonna tell you when you need to replace the brakes again. Then to leave the menu, all you have to do is just let it time itself out. I think another 10 seconds it will close the menu if you don't do anything. Another thing, you can check for fault codes in the actual cluster. Like I said, my rear sensor is not working, so I'm gonna engage reverse. It's gonna tell me there's a fault with the car, and just let the warning go away. And after the warning goes away, which is actually taking a bit too long, Wow, that was a long time. Anyway, after the warning goes away, you're gonna cycle through here, either or up or down, doesn't really matter, and you're gonna select check, and it's gonna give you obviously the fault for the parking sensors, and then you press and hold the BC button, and it's gonna give you a code. And then with that code you can go online, and I don't remember the website now, but I'll leave it in the description. You'll go to the website and check what the fault code number is, and it's gonna tell you the description of the fault. And I know it's the center parking sensors because, like I said, I checked in the website for what that code means. Also, when I lock the car, there's a beep that needs to be programmed. Like I said in the last video, I used Carly. Same for the digital speedo on the cluster because that wasn't standard. The windows going fully up and down even when you open the door. And another thing I programmed with Carly was when you have the engine running, if you want to remove the key straight away after you turn the engine off, all you have to do is just press and hold. And if you heard, all you have to do now is just pull the key without pushing it first. I get it that these days it's pretty normal opening or closing the windows with the remote, but on BMWs, for some reason, from what I could gather, it's not that common, and most of them needs to be programmed. But it's one of the features that the car has, opening and closing the windows with the remote. Like I said, it's pretty standard these days, but apparently not all BMWs. So after the brakes were done, even before they were bedded in properly, the feeling was a lot better than before. I don't know if it was the pads, I don't know if it was the old discs, but something wasn't quite right on the old parts. But these here, like I said, I do honestly like the way they look, but they feel honestly really good as well. The whole combination about new discs, new pads, new hard lines, yeah, that 100% made a big difference. And one thing I need to remind you of is when you're doing the front left, that's the wheel with the brake pad wear sensor, do not forget to plug the sensor back in the pad, because I kept thinking about it, but after painting the caliper I forgot. I only plug it in the following morning, but luckily I didn't have to take the wheel off. I just turned the wheel full lock and reached from behind and plugged the sensor in. But yeah, I think for this video we covered everything. I hope that you like this video as well. Tell me which one was your favorite feature, and I'll be seeing you in the next upload. Take care.